Good, good morning, moderator.
Good morning.
I will take your lead about when to start.
Well,
we
we've
cannot
got about
start.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Oh, I think that was Helen saying the same thing.
It was.
All right, Madam Chair, I think we're ready to begin. It's 10 o'clock. At least WebEx is ready.
Thank you so much, moderator. Good morning. I am Berta Sanchez Hayden, and I am calling the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau Advisory Committee meeting to order at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. At this time, I will proceed to item number 2 on our agenda, roll call and establishment of quorum. At this time, I would like to note that the committee members are attending the meeting remotely, and I will ask Angela to call roll and establish quorum. Angela?
Good morning, everybody. Please state your name that you are present as I call your name. Bertha Sanchez Hayden,
Present.
Elizabeth Ichikawa,
Present.
Joyce Anthony,
Present.
James Moore,
Here.
Linda Ng,
Present.
and Alfred Torgano. I know that he was having some technical issues and should be with us shortly. With 5 members present, yes, 5 members present, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Angela. At this time, we will proceed to item number 3 on the agenda. I would ask advisory committee members and bureau staff to introduce themselves. I'll start. I'm Berta Sanchez Hayden, and I'm the chair of the advisory committee. I'm a governor appointee serving as representing public interest. I would next like to invite Vice Chair Elizabeth Ichikawa to introduce herself.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Ichikawa. I am the court investigator. I fill the court investigator role on the advisory committee. Thank you.
Linda Ng.
Thank you. Linda Ng, I am an enroll agent specializing in taxation. And I also want to congratulate Chair Sanchez Hayden and Vice Chair Ichikawa for the continuing their vital advisory role at this Bureau. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. James?
Hi, my name is James Moore. I'm a professional conservator here in Sacramento.
Joyce?
I'm Joyce Anthony, and I'm a professional fiduciary practicing for 20 years now in Los Altos.
Congratulations. Before transitioning to Bureau staff, I just wanted to see if any other members of the advisory committee had signed on. Angela, could you tell me if our member who is having technical difficulty is on?
Yes, thank you. He is on. Alfred Torgano, can you?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody, or morning rather. My name is Alfred Torgano. Happy to be here with you all today. Entrepreneur and commissioner here on this board.
Right. Thank you, Alfred. I believe that is all the advisory committee members. So at this time, I'd like to transition to staff of the Bureau. Before I do so, I would like to note that the Bureau's former program manager, Terry McLean's last day with the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau was on April 29th, 2025. We thank Terry for her incredible hard work and dedication during her time at the Bureau. And I would also like to take this opportunity to introduce and welcome Cynthia Antar, who is the Bureau's new program manager as of May 13th, 2025. Cynthia, welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cynthia Antar. and I'm honored to be the current program manager for the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau. As you know, the Bureau Chief position remains vacant and is a governor's appointment. A little about myself. My background includes several years as a paralegal in the private sector and approximately 20 years with the state of California, 10 of which have been in leadership. During my state employment, I have worked across several state agencies in different capacities to include my experience working with the Attorney General's office, Chief of Hearings and Appeals for the Department of Public Health, and my current role as a program chief for the Arbitration Certification Program here at the Department of Consumer Affairs. I'm very familiar with the Department of Consumer Affairs, and I'm happy to be working with the advisory committee members, as well as the Bureau staff while the position is vacant. I have already learned so much, and I'm enjoying my time with the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. I'm so excited to be working with your incredible team in the Bureau to sustain the mission.
Thank you.
I believe over to you, Angela, for your introduction.
Hi, I'm Angela Quadra, the program analyst for the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau.
And are there any other staff or introductions that are present in the hearing room?
This is Helen Joffrey. I am attorney for the Professional Fiduciaries Bureau.
Good morning, Helen. Thank you for your introduction. I'd now like to proceed to item number 4 on our agenda. Please allow me briefly to address this agenda item. California law prohibits advisory committee members from discussing or taking action on any matter not on the agenda. However, this item offers an opportunity for the public to comment on items that are not listed on today's agenda. Please be aware that public comment during this agenda item should provide information to the advisory committee members and is not meant to be a discussion before the advisory committee and the public. Though this may seem at times that the advisory committee or bureau staff are not being responsive, following these guidelines is critical to ensuring the rules of the Open Meetings Act are followed. Before the advisory committee asks for the public comment, I respectfully ask individuals making comments not to discuss any pending complaints, pending licensing applications, or pending disciplinary actions that may come before the Bureau's legal counsel. Such discussions are considered ex parte communications by potentially providing information to the Bureau's legal counsel outside of the administrative record in a case. The advisory committee requests that you also respect the privacy of others by not revealing the names, other personal information, and conditions of any individuals involved in any case or complaint. The advisory committee can receive comments regarding the Bureau's process in general. However, it cannot receive comments on specific cases. If you want the advisory committee to discuss a topic not on today's agenda, you may request that item be considered for a future meeting agenda during the public comment on agenda item 11. However, please be aware that an agenda item recommendation does not obligate the Bureau to fulfill that request. If your comment is related to an item on today's agenda, please wait until we get to that agenda item. Comments at this time are only for items not on the agenda. To allow the advisory committee sufficient time to conduct its full schedule of business, each public comment will be limited to 2 minutes. Please do not duplicate or repeat the comments of a previous speaker. I will now turn to public comment. Since we are having a hybrid meeting, I will start public comments on each agenda item, including this one, with the individuals attending the meeting in Sacramento, followed by the individuals attending this meeting via WebEx. I would now like to invite members of the public attending the meeting at the Sacramento location to provide comments on agenda item number 4. Items not on the agenda. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to make a comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask the moderator to call for public comments from any individuals attending the meeting via WebEx. Moderator?
All right, we are open for public comment for items not on the agenda via WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand. And if you're using a mobile device, you may need to hit the ellipses button, that's the ... in order to find your hand. People will be given 2 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. We're going to take just a few more seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you so much, moderator. We will now proceed to item number 5 on our agenda. Cynthia, can you please read the Bureau's mission statement?
My pleasure. So the Bureau's mission is to protect consumers through licensing, consumer education, and enforcement of the Professional Fiduciaries Act, and promote and uphold competency and ethical standards across the profession.
Thank you, Cynthia. Are there any comments or discussions from advisory committee members? As there are no comments from advisory committee members, I'd like to invite members of the public attending the meeting in Sacramento to provide comments on this agenda. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to provide comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Moderator, I will now ask if you could call for public comment from any individuals attending this meeting via WebEx.
We are once again open for public comment via WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you, moderator. We will now proceed to item number 6 on our agenda, discussion and approval of the advisory committee meeting minutes from our March 12th, 2025 meeting. Are there any suggested edits to the March 12th, 2025 meeting minutes by committee members? As there are no suggested edits, I'd like to ask, is there a motion to approve the March 12th, 2025 minutes and to allow the Bureau staff to make non-substantive edits if needed?
I motion to approve the minutes as written and allow the Bureau staff to make non-substantive edits as needed.
Thank you, Joyce. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Alfred. Are there any discussion, questions, or comments that the advisory committee members would like to put forward? As there are no discussions, questions, or comments from the advisory committee, I'd like to invite members of the public attending this meeting in Sacramento to provide comments about this agenda item. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to make a comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Moderator, I would now like to ask if you could please call for public comments from any individuals attending this meeting via WebEx.
We are now open for public comment on the meeting minutes. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue?
Yes, thank you, moderator. At this time, we will proceed to item number 7 on our agenda. Oh, I apologize. Got a little agenda happy there. Since there are no additional comments, we can now proceed to voting on the motion. Angela, can you please repeat the motion and call the roll?
Good morning. The committee will be voting to post the minutes or to approve the minutes as written and allow the Bureau to make non-substantive edits if needed. As I call your name, please respond, and a yes vote will be to approve this motion. Bertha Sanchez Hayden,
Yes.
Elizabeth Ichikawa,
Yes.
Joyce Anthony,
Yes.
James Moore,
Yes.
Linda Ng,
Yes.
Alfred Torgano.
Yes.
The motion carries with 6 votes, and the minutes will be posted to the Bureau's website as written. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. And we will now proceed to item number 7 on the agenda, the update from the Director's Office. I would like to invite Judy Bucciarelli from the Executive Office to present an update from the Department of Consumer Affairs. Welcome, Judy.
Good morning. I'm here for Judy. My
Oh.
name is Shelley Jones, and I'm with Board and Bureau Relations. Good morning, members. I would like to give you an update on 3 items this morning. The first is the governor's reorganization plan. In January, Governor Newsom released his proposed 2025-2026 state budget, which included a proposal to split DCA's oversight agency, the Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency, into 2 state agencies, the California Housing and Homelessness Agency and the Business and Consumer Services Agency. The proposed California Housing and Homelessness Agency, CHHA, as we love our acronyms, will oversee housing and homelessness solutions and safeguard civil rights. The new Business and Consumer Services Agency will be responsible for consumer affairs, licensing, and enforcement. The Department of Consumer Affairs will be among the 8 departments in this new agency. We believe this is an extraordinary opportunity for DCA to better align with other consumer protection departments. A secretary within the governor's cabinet focused solely on consumer protection will only strengthen our mission, momentum, and delivery of services to California. As part of the process in state government, on April 4th, the governor's reorganization plan was delivered to the nonpartisan Little Hoover Commission for review. The submission of the plan to the commission began an approximate 90-day formal review process. The commission held public hearings on April 23rd and 24th to receive testimony and for interested parties to provide input on the proposed reorganization. Our agency's secretary, DCA Director Kirchmeier, and other impacted department leaders testified in support of the governor's plan and responded to questions from the commissioners. This week, the Little Hoover Commission released its full report recommending the legislature allow the governor's reorganization plan to take effect, and the commission also included recommendations that would build upon the plan. The legislature now has until July 4th to consider the reorganizational proposal, and unless rejected by the legislature, the plan will go into effect on July 5th. As written, currently, the Business and Consumer Services Agency will officially become operative on July 1st of 2026. We anticipate 1 or more legislative hearings will take place in the coming weeks, and DCA will continue to keep Board and Bureau leadership apprised as these are scheduled. Our second item for update today is regarding the hybrid telework transition. On March 3rd, 2025, Governor Newsom issued an executive order requiring all state agencies and departments to update their hybrid telework policies for employees and increase from 2 to 4 days in office per week beginning on July 1st. On March 13th, the California Department of Human Resources issued guidance on implementation of this executive order, and the guidance provides defined parameters for when agencies and departments can make case-by-case exceptions to the 4-day in-office minimum requirement. DCA has been working closely with a few programs on identifying additional space needed for this transition. DCA has been hosting biweekly meetings with Board and Bureau leadership to provide updates and respond to questions. We recognize that this transition will likely require adjustments for many employees, and we are working together to minimize the impacts. We will, of course, continue to keep leadership updated on any additional direction received from CalHR. And lastly, we have a new Compliance and Equity Officer. On April 28th, Levi Hull began serving in this capacity. In this position, he's responsible for leading and coordinating department-wide quality improvement efforts to ensure consistency and regulatory compliance. This position oversees DCA's solid planning and training services, the Organizational Improvement Office, the Equal Employment Opportunity Office, and the Internal Audit Office, and serves as the liaison to the department's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Steering Committee. As the department's equity officer, this position is dedicated to enhancing the diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility policies, trainings, and activities throughout the department's programs. Levi brings more than 12 years of experience in leading multidisciplinary teams and driving strategic program development. With more than 9 years of experience in EEO compliance and program management, including nearly 3 years at DCA, he is an experienced leader with deep commitment to fostering inclusive, equitable, and accessible work environments. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you for such a robust update. Judy, are there any comments from advisory committee members? As there are no comments from advisory committee members, I'd like to invite members of the public attending the hearing in Sacramento to provide comments about this agenda item. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to provide a comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you so much. Moderator, may I please ask for you to call for public comments from individuals attending this meeting via WebEx?
We are open for public comment on agenda item 7. This is the DCA update. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you, moderator. And thank you again for the robust update. At this time, we will transition to item number 8 on our agenda, the budget report and budget overview and update. I would like to invite Brendan Wu from the Department of Consumer Affairs Budget Office to present an update on the Bureau's budget. Welcome, Brendan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. My name is Brendan Vu, and I'm a budget analyst with the DCA Budget Office. I'm here alongside Nicole Dragoo, the budget manager. I want to thank the Advisory Committee and the Bureau for allowing me to present on Agenda Item 8, the Bureau's expenditure projections and fund condition statement. First, I'm going to start with the Bureau's expenditures, page 19 of your materials. These projections are based on actual data through fiscal month 9. This report includes 2023 to 24 actual expenditures in green, as well as 24-25 budgeted and projected expenditures in blue and orange. As we move to the end of the document, you will see the Bureau had a beginning base budget of a little over 1.1 million and is projected to spend a total of approximately 678,000, creating a reversion to the Bureau's fund of approximately 355,000 with the reversion percentage of 34.37%. The next document I'll be going over is the Bureau's revenue projections, page 20 of your materials. This report includes receipts collected through September and provides the projected revenue to year end. I will go further into projections as we transition to the next slide. The next slide, page 21 of your materials, is the Bureau's fund condition statement. As a reminder, we read this document top to bottom, left to right. The left column is the Bureau's prior year 2023-24 actuals. It shows the Bureau began 2023-24 with a balance of $256,000, and the Bureau collected $842,000 in revenues, with $141,000 from initial license fees, $664,000 from license renewals, and $37,000 collected from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The Bureau expended $797,000, which includes $46,000 in direct draws to the fund for statewide pro rata and pension payments. The Bureau closed 2023-24 with a reserve balance of $301,000 or 4.8 months in reserve. For current year 2024-25, the Bureau projects revenues of just over 1.2 million, with 171,000 projected from initial license fees, 998,000 from renewal fees, and 60,000 from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The Bureau's 2024-25 expenditures are currently based on the 2025-26 governor's budget with FM9 projections at 747,000 between authorized expenditures and direct draws to the fund, leaving the Bureau with a fund balance of just over 783,000 or 7.7 months in reserve. The Budget Office will continue to monitor the Bureau's revenue and expenditures and report back to the Bureau with monthly expenditure projections as we continue to close fiscal months in the current fiscal year. A few things to note for the Bureau's fund condition. The fund condition is a snapshot in time. One of the main factors driving expenditure increases in future years is a result of personal service adjustments. These include general salary increases, as well as employee compensation and retirement rate adjustments. The Budget Office includes a conservative ongoing 3% to increase to expenditures on the fund condition statement to account for these incremental adjustments. Lastly, I would like to note to the Bureau that any future legislation or unanticipated events could result in the Bureau's need for additional resources, which would create a cost pressure on the fund. The Budget Office will continue to monitor the Bureau's fund condition statement and keep an open line of communication with the Bureau Program Manager for any future needs or expectations. This concludes my presentation. Again, thank you for allowing me to present at today's meeting. I will now be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that update. Advisory Committee members, are there any questions? As there are no questions from the Advisory Committee members, I would like to invite members of the public attending the meeting in Sacramento to provide comments about this agenda item. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to provide a comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you. I will now ask the moderator to call for public comments from any individuals attending this meeting via WebEx. Moderator?
We are now open for public comment on the budget update via WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And it looks like our first request is coming from James Counts. Hold on just a moment, please. We're going to send you a request to unmute your microphone. You'll be given 2 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. All right, are you with us, James?
Yes, thank you. My name is James Counts. I'm a CPA and CTFA. I found it interesting this morning reviewing the budget numbers and the pages in the report. And I quickly identified some relationships that concern me for the ongoing good health of the Fiduciary Bureau. As you briefly mentioned, there is an increase in budget expenditures for the next budget year. That increase is 65% of expenditures over the current level of expenditures. And I don't know if the increase is due to things that can be later modified or reduced and not being implemented or what, but that's causing a future danger to the Fiduciary Bureau because it starts to create an ongoing negative cash flow for current revenue versus expenditures that will continue. And if it was to continue indefinitely, would cause a run out of funds and so forth. So that somehow that needs to be reviewed and analyzed and considered quickly and hopefully before it gets very much into next fiscal year. Otherwise,
30 seconds.
Yeah, otherwise it could end up causing some irreversible or difficult to reverse issues. So with that, I'll leave some future comments to other topics. Thank you.
Thank you. And we had other hands up, but they have disappeared. We're going to wait just a second longer to see if those hands return.
Not now, Kitty. Okay.
All right, next we're calling on Greg Honinger. Honinger, please help me out with your last name, please. Greg, we're sending you a request to Oh, are you there with Greg?
Yeah,
Go ahead, please.
I didn't quite understand on the renewal fees why the amount is going down in the future years from 998 this year to 981. Has there been a decrease in the number of members? I know that, of course, the fee went up tremendously, and I would think that I met with someone yesterday who's retiring. I'm going to be retiring next year because of these fees are getting kind of out of hand. And so I wonder what the budget has considered with the number of licensees going forward. Are we going to get more licensees or less licensees, or what's the forecast showing?
All right, thank you for your comment. And those appear to be all of our requests for public comment at the moment.
Thank you so much, moderator, and thank you to those who provided public comment. At this time, I would like to thank Brendan for the update and proceed to item number 9 on our agenda. I would like to invite Susan Kilcrease from the Department of the Consumer Affairs Legislative Office to present on Assembly Bills 586 and 1105.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this on? Awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Susan Kilcrease. I'm a legislative analyst with DCA's Legislative Affairs Division. I'm here today to give a short update on legislative timelines and bills that impact the Bureau. Important dates to note coming up for the rest of the legislative year is July 18th is the last day for policy committees to meet and report on bills. In addition, it is the beginning of summer recess for the legislature. They will reconvene in August 18th from summer recess. August 29th is the last day for fiscal committees to meet and report on bills to the floor. And September 2nd through the 12th is floor session only for bills to hopefully not come out. Just kidding. For bills to move past the floor. September 12th is the last day for each house to pass the bill, and October 12th is the last day for the governor to sign or veto bills passed by the legislature. For 2025 and 26 legislative related bills to the Bureau, I have AB 586. It's from Assemblymember Flora regarding professional fiduciaries. As amended April 21st, 2025, AB 586 has passed out of the Assembly and is in the Senate Rules Committee awaiting committee assignment. This bill would add a professional fiduciary's professional corporation to the existing definition of a professional fiduciary and would allow one or more fiduciary licensees to organize a corporation. The bill would allow the I cannot talk today, I apologize. Professional Fiduciaries Bureau to require each corporation to provide a corporate-wide report exempt from public record laws. The bill would require individual licensees to indicate on each case whether they are serving under a corporation and require each director, shareholder, and officer of the corporation, as well as any individual providing professional fiduciary services on behalf of the corporation to be licensed by the Bureau. You asked at the last Bureau meeting to review AB 1105, which is Quirk Silva's bill on conservatorships. As amended May 20th, 2025, AB 1105 passed the Assembly and has been referred to the Senate Judiciary Committee. This bill would allow a conservator to place a conservatee in a residential facility intermediate care facility, or a nursing facility, as long as the faculty has secured a perimeter and/or security feature where a door is locked after an exit for a determined amount of time. In case of emergency, this bill would require the conservator to follow current law, as well as require the Department of Social Services and the Department of Public Health to update regulations for these provisions and allow for them to issue emergency regulations to implement these provisions before January 1, 2027. Please that is all I have for today. I am available for any questions or comments.
Thank you so much for that update. I would like to invite members of the public attending the meeting in Sacramento to provide comments about this agenda item. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to make a comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you. I will now ask the moderator to call for public comments from any individuals attending this meeting via WebEx. Moderator?
We are open for public comment via WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you so much, moderator. And thank you again, Susan, for such a robust update. At this time, we will proceed to item number 10 on our agenda, the Bureau updates. Cynthia, can you please present the Bureau updates?
My pleasure. Hello again, everybody. I will be presenting the application, licensing, and enforcement statistics. The statistics are in the materials if you'd like to follow along with me. Please note that as it relates to the licensing statistics, these numbers reflect what is within the Bureau's control. Any wait times associated with the examination provider are outside of the Bureau's control. The following statistics are for the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year 2024 through 2025, beginning with July 1st, 2024, and ending with March 31st, 2025. I will begin with the application and licensing statistics. Since the Bureau's inception, 1,509 total licenses have been issued. As of March 31st, 2025, there were 861 active licenses, 17 inactive, and 28 retired. Applications. The Bureau has received 87 initial applications to take the exam and has issued 74 new licenses. Processing time. Processing time to approve completed applications to take the exam for the 3rd quarter was 25 days and 6 days to issue a new license after the applicant passed the exam, Renewals. The Bureau has processed 619 licensing renewals this fiscal year, and the average processing time for renewals in the 3rd quarter was 18 days. Moving on to enforcement statistics. The Bureau has received 124 complaints for this fiscal year. Complaints closed. As of the 3rd quarter, the Bureau has closed 75 complaints. Average days to close complaints is 156 days. Complaints pending. There were 148 complaints pending. Citations issued. The Bureau has issued 6 citations, and Attorney General cases initiated. The Bureau has referred 2 cases to the Attorney General's office for possible disciplinary action. The Bureau is aware that time frames are taking longer than we would like to see, and we currently have a vacant enforcement analyst position, and my priority in this capacity is to fill that vacancy to decrease these time frames. Moving on to the second bullet, agenda item, the Los Angeles fire response. On January 29th, 2025, Governor Gavin Newsom issued Executive Order N-1525, which postpones for 1 year the license renewal fees for the Department of Consumer Affairs. Licenses that expire between January 1st, 2025 and June 30th, 2025, and those residential businesses addresses within the impacted zip codes. As discussed at the last meeting, the Bureau staff contacted all licensees within the affected zip codes. Those who requested temporary waivers of fees or replacement licenses were granted. Moving on to the third bullet, the agenda item, outreach events. The Bureau was able to attend the conservator work group from the California Elder and Disability Justice Coordinating Council on March 13th and April 15th. The work group is chaired by our advisory committee chairwoman, Bertha Sanchez Hayden. The Bureau was invited but was unable to attend the Professional Fiduciary Association of California annual conference in May. The Bureau was able to mail the organizer of the conference 200 licensee brochures to be distributed during the conference. Please email the Bureau if you learn of any events the Bureau should consider attending. As part of the Bureau's outreach efforts, we had planned to have a licensee do a presentation. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, the next agenda item will have to be tabled to a future meeting.
Thank you, Cynthia, for that update.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, I'd like to now ask if to invite any members of the public attending. Apologies. I'd like to first pause and ask if there are any advisory committee members that would like to provide comments or questions. As there are no advisory committee members, I would like to ask for provide comments. I would also just once again like to say welcome to Cynthia and thank you for providing that robust update. And now ask if you can call for any public comments of individuals attending the hearing in Sacramento who have indicated that they would like to provide public comment. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento who would like to make a comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you. Moderator, I will now ask if you could please call for public comments from any individuals attending this meeting via WebEx.
We are open for public comment on this part of agenda item 10. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And it looks like our first request is coming from James Counts. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
This is James Count, CPA, CTFA. Regarding some of the various numbers in the Bureau Chief's report, numbers, as a CPA, I know numbers can tell a story, but you need a clearer explanation of the numbers so that they give a better guidelines of the story. I would like to suggest that the format of the numbers you're providing be changed into a table format. And the table be going across left to right, cover several years, and I would suggest like maybe 5 years, with the left column being the description of what each line is. And then each line, you might have new licensees issued by quarter, new renewals process by quarter, and then non-renewal. How many people that were due to renew did not renew during that quarter? And then what is the current number of active licensees at the end of that particular quarter? And then interesting to know future possibilities on the testing of potential licensees. How many people, new people, took the test during the quarter?
30 seconds.
How many passed the test during that particular quarter, no matter when they took the test originally? And seeing that trend over a period of time, and some interesting numbers are greater increases in new people, but a higher trend of non-renewal. And that's bad news. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, I noticed some hands going up and down. We're going to take a few more seconds to see if those hands come back up before we move on. All right, seeing no additional requests, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you, moderator. And thank you to those members of the public who provided comment via WebEx. At this time, Cynthia, may I just confirm that you said that there was an issue with item number 11 on the agenda, on the previous agenda?
Yes, I am confirming, and we will table that to a future meeting.
Thank you. As item number 11 is tabled for a future meeting, I would now like to proceed to the next item on our agenda, the application and licensing processing presentation by Angela Quadro.
Madam Chair, if I may, this is legal.
Yes.
We've had member Janet, I apologize, Khan added to our membership list. We do need to check and see if she can turn on her camera, please.
Yes, thank you. We're going to pause and ask member Janet Khan if you could please turn on your camera. Moderator, can I ask you to facilitate the tech questions?
Can you hear me? This is Janet. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, now we
Okay,
can hear
I'm getting some strange message I've not previously encountered. It says, please open the FineCam desktop client, and I don't know what that means or what to do.
Okay.
All right, this
Okay,
is
sorry.
David, the moderator. I'm going to force your video to stop, and I want you to try and re-enable it.
And moderator, if that doesn't work, then we'll go ahead and it's on the record that there was technical difficulties and we can proceed.
All right, Janet, let us know how you're doing. Hit that
Tell
button.
me again. I'm sorry, David, could you tell me again what it is you'll need me to do once you do whatever you're going to do?
I just did it, and so I would like you to hit the start video down at the bottom of your screen. It should be near your mute button.
Okay, got that. Is that working now?
No.
No?
All right. Legal, is this sufficient to proceed?
Yes.
All right. We're not going to worry about video any longer. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. So I would just like to once again note for the record that member Janet Khan was experiencing technical difficulties. We made an effort to address them, but were unable to do so. At this time, then, we will proceed to the next item agenda number, application and licensing process presentation by our program analyst, Angela Quadro. I'd like to invite Angela to present the Bureau's application and licensing process. Angela?
1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to confirm one thing. I apologize. Let me share my screen so you can see what I am talking about to you today. So I'm going to be providing to you some information regarding our application and licensing processes for the Bureau. First, I want to give you just a general overview of the Bureau. The Bureau was created by Senate Bill 1550, authored by Figueroa and signed into law as the Professional Fiduciaries Act on September 27th of 2006 to regulate non-family member professional fiduciaries, including conservators, guardians, trustees, personal representatives of a decedent's estate, and agents under durable a power of attorney as defined in the Act. The Bureau issued its first license on July 1st of 2008. Licensed professional fiduciaries provide critical services to seniors, persons with disabilities, and children. Some of the matters managed by our licensees for the client include daily care, housing and medical needs, financial management services, ranging from basic bill paying to estate and investment management. Licensees also rely on other professionals to assist with services outside of their expertise, such as tax professionals, medical providers, and attorneys. The requirements to become a licensee include submitting an application with a processing fee, completing the fingerprint processing, and completing 30 hours of approved education courses, including at least one in the subject topic of cultural competency, and passing the examination. Once the applicant is approved and passes the exam, the applicant will then pay an initial licensing fee and for their license to be issued. There are also requirements for licensees to renew their license annually. Submission of a renewal fee, 15 hours of continuing education for each year, and 2 of those hours must be in ethics or cultural competency, or a total of 2 hours in the instruction of both ethics and cultural competency. For the application intake process, the process begins with the receipt of the application and ends with the issuance of an initial license. This process includes reviewing the application and notifying the applicant of approval, deficiency, or denial. The applicant completing the exam process and obtaining a passing score on the examination, the Bureau notifying the applicant of the initial licensing fee, which is due to the Bureau, and then the issuance of the license number, and finally the newly licensed fiduciary will submit an initial annual statement within 60 days of the issuance of their license. I'm going to provide more details in the next few slides on each of these steps. The Bureau does not have an online system to receive applications or processing fees, so all applications must be submitted by mail with a check, cashier's check, or money order, along with all of these supporting documents. Processing time may take up to 90 days to either approve the application or notify the applicant of any deficiencies and how those deficiencies can be satisfied. If there are deficiencies, the Bureau will resume processing the application once the deficiencies have been satisfied by the applicant. In reviewing the application for completeness. So the applicant tab of the Bureau's website has all the forms and a checklist applicants may use to make sure they are submitting a complete application. A complete application consists of completing every section, even if the answer is no, or a similar answer to, or the same answer as far as like the address. If the address is the same, you need to put it in each section, or write same as above. You're required to have a physical business and home address and telephone numbers. The email address is optional, but it is very helpful for the Bureau to quickly contact applicants and to notify of deficiencies or approval of their application. An address of public record, if the address is different from the physical address, the address of public record will be where all of the mail correspondence is sent to the applicant. And once the license is issued, this address will appear on the Bureau's website as a public address. There are questions at the end of part 1. And if you should answer yes to any of these questions, it would expedite your application pursuant to specific business and profession code sections related to military experience or being admitted to the United States as a refugee or granted asylum. If you have filed for bankruptcy within the last 10 years, that must be notated and with the date that it was filed. In part 4 of the application, the applicant must list the approved education provider, course provider, date completed, and the subject matter for each course that has been completed. In Part 5, the applicant will list their education and/or experience qualifications. If the applicant has a bachelor degree or higher, the applicant is not required to provide any details of experience. If the applicant has an associate's degree, they must provide detail of at least 3 years of a substantive experience. If there is no degree, the substantive experience must total at least 5 years. If you are applying with experience, the applicant must provide 3 references for the Bureau to contact to verify that experience. Finally, the applicant must sign and date the application, which is sometimes missed. The applicant must include a live scan fingerprinting form that has been completed at the live scan location. And the application processing fee, which is currently $600, must be submitted at the same time with the application. The application, once received at Department of Consumer Affairs, it goes through the mailroom, the cashiering office, and then it reaches the Bureau. The application is reviewed, and if all requirements are met, the Bureau emails a letter of approval to the applicant that they are approved to apply with the Center for Guardianship Certification to register for the exam. If the application is deficient, the Bureau notifies the applicant of the specific deficiency and what is needed to correct that deficiency. And once those items are returned to the Bureau, the application process continues. If the applicant does not qualify for licensure, the applicant will receive a denial letter. If an email address is not provided, the Bureau will mail the approval or deficiency or the denial letter via regular mail. The total processing time, including all of these steps, the mailroom, the cashiering, and the Bureau time to review, is up to 90 days. The Bureau strives to get it done in much less time than that. The exam approval and registration. The Bureau notifies the applicant, like I stated before, that they will contact CGC. If they have not provided the email address, it will go via regular mail. And this letter contains instructions detailed of how the applicant contacts CGC. They can do that by phone or online, and they submit an application to CGC. CGC has a separate processing fee for the exam, which is currently $420, and a background check, which may take up to 45 days. After they have completed that process, then the Bureau will send the record to PSI, which is the exam vendor where the applicant physically takes the exam. They will mail a candidate handbook to the applicant, which provides ways to schedule the exam and outline of exam content and testing locations. PSI has a separate fee for the applicant to sit for the exam, which is currently $36.91. If the applicant fails to pass the exam on the first attempt, they have 4 additional attempts within a 1-year period from the date approval was given by the Bureau, with at least 30 days between attempts. For each exam attempt, there is an additional fee for CGC, which is currently $295, and a retake fee for PSI, which is $36.91. If the applicant does not pass the exam within 1-year period or after 5 attempts, whichever comes first, the application will be abandoned and the applicant would need to start the application over with the Bureau if they choose to pursue licensure. Once the applicant has passed the exam, they will receive an email from the Center for Guardianship Certification, and the Bureau will be copied on this email. The Bureau will reply to that email with an instruction letter to the applicant with the initial licensing fee and how and where to submit that fee, and a copy of the notice of licensee responsibilities and reporting requirements. The applicant will return a copy of that letter with the initial licensing fee to the Bureau. The Bureau will issue that license, and the licensee should receive it within 30 days by mail. The newly licensed professional fiduciary may view their license by searching for their name at the link shown on the PowerPoint you're seeing. Under the third bullet where it says licenses issued and can be viewed at. The initial annual statement can be found at the link on the next bullet point, and that is due within 60 days of the license being issued. As with the application, all sections of this initial annual statement form must be complete. And the form may be emailed to pfbrenewals@dca.ca.gov for it to be quickly received and processed. When the Bureau receives the initial annual statement, this information is entered into the database, and all public information from the report will then appear on the licensee's verification screen on the DCA website. Public information includes their name, the address of record, aggregate value of assets under the licensee's management, whether the licensee has filed for bankruptcy in the last 10 years, and whether the licensee has been removed from a case for breach of duty or resigned from a case as a result of a complaint that was filed with the court. Renewal of license. So this is after your license has been issued and you're a year later. The annual statement, which is found at the link on the second PowerPoint or second bullet on the PowerPoint slide, that is due within 60 days prior to the expiration date of the license. As with the initial annual statement, all sections must be completed and all questions must be answered. This may also be emailed to the PFB renewals at dca.ca.gov email. When the Bureau receives the annual statement, the information is entered into the database just the same as the initial, and the public information will be updated on the license verification page. It includes all of the same things as the initial annual statement, which will be showing on the Bureau's website. So for a couple of common issues, items that are missed on both the initial and annual statements, I wanted to kind of go over those just quickly with you. One of the most common errors is not using the correct version of the form. Outdated versions should not be used. We've noticed that a lot of licensees are printing copies and then filling them out and sending in. This was just revised this year in May. So there is a brand new version up on the website as of the end of May. Another common thing is address sections that the licensees sometimes do not put a physical address for their business and home. Those must be physical addresses. A lot of times the aggregate value on the second page of the form, or actually it's now on the first page of the form. So the aggregate value is missed a lot of times. And so the Bureau has to return that to the licensee for correction. For client matters, all cases need to be reported, whether they're court appointed or not. And the information must be complete. They cannot be abbreviations or initials for the name of the case. The date needs to be the exact month, day, and year for open or closure. And the entire case number should be listed, not a truncation or the last four numbers of it. For business matter sections, the licensee is required to include the names of businesses or enterprises, the client names and dates of payments for any business that there are payments made from one of their fiduciary clients to a business that a family member owns an interest in, or a business or a family member owns, or that the licensee has a interest in. The licensee cannot report all payments in the section. It must be listed out for the date of each payment. Finally, the statement must be signed and dated by the licensee. Processing time for renewals may take up to 6 weeks. If the items are received late or not complete, the process will take longer. The Bureau returns statements that are not complete to the licensee via email with details of what specific items are needed to be corrected in order to complete the renewal process. The corrections should be made on the copy the Bureau sends to the licensee, and the licensee should initial and date next to each correction for the tracking purposes of the form. Once the Bureau has the completed annual statement, the cashiering office has received and processed renewal payment and verification of completion of continuing education. The renewal license will be issued, and the licensee should receive a hard copy of that renewed license within 30 days. I thank you for the opportunity to present this morning, and I am happy to answer any questions the committee members may have at this time.
Thank you so much, Angela. Committee members, are there any questions or comments? I first would like to comment. I commend this program staff on providing such a thorough presentation and to help identify gaps that better provide ease for applicants. So thank you, Angela, for walking us through that process. If no other committee members have any comments, I will proceed to turning to ask Cynthia if there are any members of the public attending the hearing in Sacramento to provide public comment about this agenda item. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to make a comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Moderator, I will now ask if you can please call for public comments from any individuals attending this meeting via WebEx.
We are now open for public comment on the presentation. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few seconds now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request for public comment, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you, moderator. And thank you again, Angela, for that thorough presentation. At this time, we will proceed to the next agenda item, future agenda items. Angela, what have you recorded from our meeting today for consideration for inclusion on a future agenda item?
Hi, I have not noted any items that were requested during the meeting.
Thank you, Angela. I would like to invite members of the public attending the meeting in Sacramento to provide comments about this agenda item. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to make a comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you so much. I would now like to ask the moderator to call for public comments from any individuals attending this meeting via WebEx. Moderator?
We are now open for public comment on future agenda items. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And it looks like our first request is coming from James Counts. Hold on just a moment, please. We're sending you a request to unmute your microphone.
Thank you. This is James Count, CPA and CTFA. I would like to suggest a new focus for the advisory board. In recent times, it appears the board is for more of a receiving reports of what's going on. It's not really an advisory board, as the name indicates. They're not addressing the primary cause or the major problem for the Fiduciary Bureau, and that is the ongoing existence of the board. The issues of revenue versus expenditures have to be addressed. What can be done to reverse the trend of negative cash flows on an annual basis and what is expected for the future years? Is there changes in the budget for next year that can be done to reduce the negative impact? And what can be done to increase the revenue flow? If nothing is done, I'm not sure when the next sunset review period is, but I can rest you assured that at a minimum, I would be thinking that a potential annual renewal fee and other fees would have to be increased 15% for future years to overcome the negative cash flow. So unless things are begun now and something is done to reverse the trend,
30 seconds.
The future, I understand. I expect a major increase in revenue that will further enhance the negative renewal. Look at the trending of negative renewal. Trending is higher than the increase in the new licensees. So unless that is reversed, you can see a higher rate of negative cash flow. And I thank you for the time to comment.
Thank you. And that was our only request for public comment.
Thank you, moderator. And thank you to those who provided public comment. At this time, I would like to once again thank Angela for her presentation and proceed to the next item on our agenda, the future meeting dates. The next advisory committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Additionally, the final meeting for the Bureau for 2025 will be held on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. And it will be held with an in-person location by teleconference via WebEx events and webcast. Are there any questions or comments from advisory committee members regarding our next future meetings? As there are no questions or comments from advisory committee members, I'd like to invite the members of the public attending this meeting in Sacramento to provide comments about this agenda item. Cynthia, are there any members of the public in Sacramento who would like to make a public comment?
There are no members of the public in Sacramento requesting to comment. I return the meeting back to you.
Thank you. Moderator, I'd now like to turn to you and ask if there's any members of the public requesting to make public comments who are attending this meeting via WebEx.
We are open for public comment on our future meeting dates. That's June 11th, September 10th, and December 10th. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a moment now to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no request, you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you so much, moderator. At this time, we will proceed to the final item, which is to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for your participation today, and I would now like to note that the meeting will be adjourned at 11:13 a.m. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to meeting with you again on September 10th, 2025.
Thank you.
Greetings. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.